I don't know if you're free now, or let's see what happens. Back to the roots. Now, like I say, hey, I think you're here, maybe.
Right. Does this work?
Does this work? Yo, yo, test 1 2. I hear you.
Test 1 2. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, hello. I gotta turn down the Discord OBS volume. Do you use OBS or XSplit, Chewy?
Oh, I wouldn't touch XPlane. No, no, no. I'm all OBS.
Oh, okay. I think you just said you wouldn't touch XPlane, but I think
Yeah, that's. You've got it in my head, John. God damn it! Oh. No, I wouldn't touch XSplit. No.
All right, gotta get your volume there. There you go. Well, thank you for jumping in here. I've had a great time. I don't know if you caught the landing in Salt Lake or not. Were you? I think you were there.
I did. Yeah, I was watching that. It was top notch.
Yeah, I was.
Couldn't have chosen worse visibility, really. But you know.
I know. It's like I was. You heard me. I don't fly. I don't fly in weather in X-plane because I want to look at the ortho. But
yeah, well, we just in P3D we just put clouds over all the bad scenery, so you know it does the same job. But you're liking the clouds, aren't you? You're liking.
It's right at the present moment. It's probably the feature that's really standing out the most so far.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, besides the rock solid VNav and LNav in this NGX. Yeah, the clouds. Yeah, I've been probably talking about it too much, actually. But
oh no, it's a bit special. Yeah, I think that's the beauty with us switching sims is that you can kind of get a new look as to how you take things for granted a little bit in your own simulator sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I take the clouds looking great a little bit for granted because I just see them all day every day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they are good.
Yeah, and then I think you mentioned that the better pushback you probably will miss that when you're back in your home P3D.
Oh, yeah, we use FS Dream Team's Ground Services X, and it is by far the most buggy bit of software in the sim to date. I think, yeah.
Yeah, the better pushback's pretty good stuff. It's Toto Rico's a smart guy. A lot of my X-Plane developer friends are not present in the chat today for some reason, though I don't know why.
Probably because they've seen me. They're like, "Oh gosh, prepared guy, go."
No, you had a big, nice, lovely crowd on for that stream. As
I said in the chat earlier on, it was just such a warm welcome to X-Plane.
Mm.
Although I've now got half of my community asking me if I'm ever going to fly in prepared again.
Oh, and yeah, I think you'll be an 18% X-planer.
Yeah. It'll be the direct opposite between the phone.
Exactly.
That's fair. That's fair, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but I could now claim to be what I've been referring to many streamers as hybrid streamers. You know.
That's it.
Making waves. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to ask you. Besides outside of Orbex, outside of Active Sky, and Chase Plane, and Flightbeam, what else should be on my radar? I know that.
Okay, so are you talking in terms of aircraft or scenery or?
I'm open to anything, whether it be scenery or utility or aircraft. Obviously, okay. Let's exclude the dash as well because that's probably a given. The dash, yeah.
I would definitely check out some shaders. So there's MTEX and MShade, which are two products that you should be able to buy together, and they edit the default shaders in the sim. And it's amazing how when you don't have them, you don't really realize what they can do. And then you put them in the sim, and you're like, "How have I ever simmed without these in the sim?" kind of thing. So they don't actually provide anything flying-wise, but if you're looking for visuals, those are pretty top-notch. You've already got the base stuff now. In all honesty, it is really if you want to expand your aircraft or expand your scenery. What else can I think of? Again, I know you have it in X-Plane with XPUIPC, but FSUIPC, I personally believe, is very important. You can get the free version where you can bind a lot of your keys to.
I did buy version 5, and I do have that in here.
Oh, perfect.
Someone told me that it was almost required for the NGX, but I'll be honest, I'm not using it right now for the NGX. So, but
I mean, some people like it because they like to set a lot of custom configs, like with the joystick and stuff with the NGX.
Okay.
But I personally use it for something which is very helpful, which is called autosave. And you can select a period of time. Yeah, there should be a tab on an FSUIPC for autosave.
So if you're loaded up on a long haul and you crash or whatever, you can resume to the last autosave?
That.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can choose how often it saves, how many files that it saves, and everything. And yeah, it's just really handy if anything. I've very rarely found prepared version 4 and 4.1 to crash on me unless I've done something stupid. But it's just nice to know in the background that if you do have any nasty things go on and it crashes, then you'll have something to get you back up in the air within a few minutes.
Okay.
It's just that extra little bit of backup.
Yeah.
And in terms of scenery, who's good scenery? Well, you've got a lot of Orbex stuff. The other two big developers who, if you buy any of their sceneries, you'll be satisfied, is Fly Tampa and Taxi to Gate.
Fly Tampa, Taxi to Gate.
Right, those.
Okay, I do have... this is Latin VFR's John Wayne, which I actually had to do a little bit of surgery in order to get it to work with SoCal Orbex, but for some strange reason, I tried to do a similar surgery on the FS Dream Team Las Vegas, and it didn't work. And then I did all the steps that were necessary so it didn't conflict with SoCal Orbex. But apparently there's one final step that I may not have done, and that was check the order in which it's loading.
I see.
But I need to go back there because Vegas is one of my favorite destinations, being so close to where I fly most of the time. But anyway, okay, Fly Tampa, Taxi to Gate. I also heard... what was the other one? There was... Okay, so Paxim does the Salt Lake City, but their installation is absolutely crazy. The fact that you have to download 4 different files, and you have to get an email link for each one. What is that? Come on. Hopefully when they launch Reno, I guess, sometime this coming year, that it'll be just one download.
Unfortunately, this is the thing with Prepared, where the whole topic comes up of different sims, because we rely on so many third-party add-ons that they all do things in a very different way to each other. And so, for example, there's another developer who do some relatively okay things scenery-wise for the US called FS Dream Team, and they're the same company who made that ground services program that I mentioned a moment ago. And they actually have a bit of software called Add-on Manager that sits in the simulator. But it's but that's just for their own products, and then a couple of other things work with it. And so there's so many different lines you can go down, especially when it comes to scenery. It can all get a little bit mind-boggling.
Well, yeah, that's quite a bit different. I mean, obviously we have a similar situation with X-Plane, but we have a lot more free airports that... but Mr. X has finally gone to payware, which I applaud for his Salt Lake and Albuquerque. But I see the differences with regard to payware versus freeware scenery in the Sims. That's for sure. Yeah,
definitely. But I mean, you've already got the basic set up in your Sims looking in good stead already with the active sky and things. It's just a case now of tweaking around with your settings, because you've got a really strong system having a look at your specs. So I reckon you can really push the sim to quite a good level.
I'm very happy with
about your textures earlier on.
I'm very happy with the frame rates. I very happy with them. I haven't seen any stutters, any lag or like that. But yeah, that was weird. Do you have an idea about why that texture setting is changing automatically?
So again, that can, unfortunately, it can be things like scenery sometimes. It's actually a tricky one. I don't know the exact reason for it, but I've had it a couple of times in the past where a certain scenery or something won't like me being on a certain texture resolution and will just try to change me back to the old one.
Okay.
So it can be a bit of a pain. I don't think there's any like generic fix for it, not that I know of anyway.
Okay.
At the moment,
it's easy to notice that it's there, and it's a quick change to
Is
fix
it changing it dramatically from like 4K textures right the way down to minimum or something?
Yes. Well, it's done it twice today. One time it went to 512, and this last time it went to the lowest one. So, and I'm not sure what I did, but it didn't do it.
That's interesting.
Come to think of it, it didn't do it with the A2A. It only has done it with the NGX, but that just could be coincidental since those are the only two planes I've flown in 4.1.
Yeah.
So
I've not seen it happen where it's gone. I've only ever seen it happen where it's gone from 2K textures to 4K textures, or the other way around. I've never seen it make that big of a jump with these textures. That's a weird one, but that is the mastery behind Prepared now. Is getting your frame rates, and unfortunately as you add more into the sim, the frame rates will get lower. But again, you've already got a pretty good amount of stuff, and if you're using the NorCal things from Orbex there and you're getting those frame rates, then you should be happy, because I struggle to use those at the moment. They're very intensive.
I've heard that, and I was a little bit hesitant, but I went ahead and I mean, I'm assuming it says that it's installed in my FTX Central, so I'm assuming if I go over to the scenery library, I've got all of this stuff. I'm assuming that it says FTX SoCal, and I don't see an NC. It's
let's have a look. Yeah, no, so you've definitely got the different sceneries in there. I can see it on your scenery library now where it says NA. You've got Pacific Northwest, I think, and those things. Good thing with Orbex is your scenery library is set up absolutely fine the way that you've got it at the so you see right at the top with the Latin VFR Orange County, you can see how that's kind of grayed out at the top there. So in essence, what that is certain developers are now moving over to a system where you don't need to deactivate and activate the sceneries. They will purely load in when you're within a certain vicinity of those, and so they just stay activated. However, I highly advise a lot of people to deactivate some of the meshes, like those certain regions like North Cal and the airports that aren't in use, because it does help with your load-in times quite dramatically after a while.
Okay. That's one thing that I did notice was the load time for the sim in general is literally 1/20th of what my X-Plane is right now. Because of orthophoto, I think is the big reason. Yeah. But it's very...
And again, as you load more into Prepared and have it all active, it will get... I'm assuming you're running Prepared on a solid state drive, yeah?
Yes. It's small enough that I don't have... It's kind of strange working with a simulator that's very... In fact, I'm curious, what is my... Now that they've spread out the modules and everything like that, it's hard to get a size, but it fits. I only have a 0.5 terabyte SSD, and I have a lot of other stuff on it, so it's nice that it runs.
I've got 500 gigabyte SSD, and I've got in my install for Prepared, I've only got about 180 gigabytes left, but I've got a lot of software like your Active Sky and things that aren't absolutely needed to be installed into the simulator on another hard drive, so you can split them across. And a lot of things you can actually run over a network as well, so all of my Active Sky and basically everything apart from my simulator now is actually running on a second computer system over the network. Because it just takes a lot of load off that computer.
Oh wow!
So you can just have the simming machine for the simming machine.
Yeah,
but as I said, you're already on a good start with the things that you've got. Your sim's looking good.
Yeah, when I loaded up at Jackson Hole this morning and I was so nervous. I was so kind of like you probably felt. How's this gonna go? How's this X-Plane 11 going to go? I'm just like, how's this? But I loaded up at Jackson Hole. The snowflakes were falling, and the NGX is in there, and all of it's, and the Orbex Jackson Hole glory. And I just went, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
yeah. It is that. It's the jumping in, isn't it? Like you can prep it, and the only way that I got myself to get into X-Plane was I said to the people in Twitch chat, I said, right, you can all start shouting at me if I don't go in X-Plane by the end of the week, because I've put it off for long enough. Now, of course, I can't get enough of it. So, yeah.
that steam cell
But the NGX
helped.
Oh yeah, the steam cell. Yeah, definitely.
I missed the Dash 8
NGX really
cell.
Oh, the Dash 8, as I say, like that. It takes a. I mean, it's nicknamed the Crash 8 because a lot of people don't. It's tricky. A lot of it is to do with the auto throttle for a lot of people. A lot of people, I think, struggle with that for that aircraft. But once you get your head around it, it's a real beauty to fly. It really is.
I'm gonna probably do shared cockpit with Cirrus Max.
Yeah. He
seems to know that plane, and also Josh, I think, has dabbled in that, and a few others. But the shared apparently that works pretty well on that plane.
Yeah, it works really beautifully in that plane. It's really good fun to use. It's a shame that more aircraft don't implement it in Prepared, in my opinion. But because the Dash is quite heavy on workflow sometimes between two pilots, it just really brings to life the whole pilot monitoring aspect of flying, which obviously we don't usually get. It increases the potential of that aircraft so much more. So it's really good fun.
You know, I was thinking about this the other day. The credit card companies now have these throwaway credit card numbers that you can use, once or twice or 5 times or whatever, just to. I wish that we had throwaway IP addresses, because if we did have throwaway IP addresses, I would probably throw out the shared cockpit invitation to even someone I've never even met. Just let's go fly the plane. But now it's like you can't do it. You're just like
As I've had that so many times. Can we do shared cockpit? And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't really want to give away that information, kind of thing, which is a shame because it's fun to do with people. But you'll have enough fun in the A2A and the NGX to keep you going for a bit, because they are so beautiful, both of them, and they've got some nice, not hidden things with them, but again, as you explore the aircraft more and learn more about it, you'll realize its full potential, as I'm sure I will, like with the IXEG and things.
Now officially the IXEG I don't think is, I think it's not X-Plane 11 officially compatible, but apparently there's a few workarounds. So make sure that, I think there's something to do with maybe the APU or something, but maybe they've fixed it. I haven't flown it in 2 or 3 months, but
I mean, it had X-Plane 11 in the install as an option.
Oh, good. Okay, maybe they've updated it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it worked beautifully. I had an issue with trim, I thought, where it just decided to pitch my nose in the air, but apart from that, it's been absolutely beautiful.
The other thing that I think is just be, and you've probably seen this in the P3D world as well. There's some circumstances where we need to go into like a vertical speed mode rather than let it follow a VNAV or something. But I love that plane. The one thing that I've heard amongst the X-Plane community regarding the IXEG is the 733. It has soul. That's what they all say.
Yeah.
It has soul. Yeah. So my favorite plane, I mean, the IXEG is in my top 5, believe it or not, but I haven't flown it which sounds weird that it's in my top 5, but I haven't flown it for a while. But the Flight Factor 320 is the first one. And I was talking about it earlier, that whole argument, do I get the FS Labs? Because the Flight Factor A320 is my favorite plane, like by far.
I think it's beautiful that we've got both as an option. And
options,
so because, a lot of people are comparing them and saying which one is better. And my kind of argument in response to that is, well, does it really matter which one is better? We've got an absolutely brilliant A320 for the X-Plane lovers and an absolutely brilliant A320 for the P3D lovers. I know real-world pilots who prefer one over the other from each other. So if the real-world pilots can't decide which one is better, then I don't know how we can.
Well, you take a black box. He's rocking both of them, and both of them well. Exactly. And he's very complimentary of both of them. So, it's good info. All right, so a couple more questions. I know that you generally focus on the tube liners, but I'm sure you've heard through this or that, or you've actually tried it. But what GA aircraft should I look at potentially for this sim outside of A2A?
That's the tricky one. A2A are the big dogs when it comes to GA. They are really, as far as I'm aware, they are the real good ones to stick to. There's another company called Carenado, and I hear mixed reports of them. Yeah, some people have said that they look phenomenal, but the systems and the handling aren't too great. Yeah, Grony's just put it in the chat, actually. The Aerosoft Twin Otter is a rather interesting little aircraft as well.
Okay, Twin Otter.
That's quite a fun little one. But yeah, I don't do a whole lot of GA flying. And if I did, it would pretty much be solidly A2A stuff, because they are consistently amazing with their products.
Okay. Yeah, I had the Skyhawk before, but I had it under the other license, so unfortunately I had to go buy the professional version. But I'm tempted to get the 182, although it's very similar to the 172. So maybe I go for the Cherokee first before I go to the 182.
I've heard that Comanche 250 is supposedly phenomenal. Yeah, I've heard that one's very, very good. I can't remember who did it as well. There was a retro line of the Constellation or something that came out not that long ago. And that was very, very, very good from what I heard from some people. But yeah, as I say, I don't do a lot of GA. I don't know why, it's just never really been too much of an interest to me, GA stuff.
My history with the last 2 years of streaming is I've done a lot of both. I do a lot of FS economy, and I do a lot of Pilot Edge. And I do a lot of GA. I mean, I kind of like it. In fact, 2 years ago I couldn't even start a Boeing without something like an FS to crew. So
I'm the same. I can get a 747 up and down absolutely fine, but put me behind a Cessna 182 and I don't know what I'm doing.
The beauty
I can probably get it up in the air, but that's
and that's the beauty of the Twitch world, right? Is we get all these guys in the chat that are like, hey, do this, that, and the other, and we're like, oh, you saved me right there.
I call my Twitch chat my first officer.
Yeah.
Because if I've forgotten something or not picked something up, chances are there will at least be one person in the chat who's got it for me. So yeah, I try to think how many flights I will have failed without Twitch chat's help.
Yeah, it's just amazing. People are very patient.
Stay away from Coronado. Yeah. Oh yeah, Alabeo Sagittars says is good.
Alabeo. Okay, we have a lot of Coronado and Alabeo. They're kind of the same company in the X-Plane world, and I own some very wonderful aircraft from Coronado. But there's a common theme that their aesthetics are really good, but sometimes their flight model or systems maybe need to be improved. But I'll tell you right now, if you ever wanted to fly a turbo twin prop, small airline, the B1900D in X-Plane is a fun plane. It's a good fun plane. And it's kind of in between, the Cessnas and the 737s. It's something that I would recommend. A lot of people don't like it, but I love it. So there's that. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I've said with everybody with X-Plane. For me, it's going to be an opportunity for me to fly aircraft that I don't have in prepared. So I won't pick up the Flight Factor A320, even though I know it's amazing, just because I've already got one that I'm loving in prepared, and I'd rather spend that money on something that I don't have in the sim. So I'm still hovering over the button of that Flight Factor 757, but I think I need to get used to the IXEG first before I pull that trigger.
Well, the 757, the V2 extended, I told you in your stream the other day, any plane you want, I'm donating that plane to you. So you think about it after you've played around with the IXEG. I'll get you the Flight Factor.
That's very generous. Well, I'll make sure that you've got that Dash 8 then in return.
The Dash 8's like twice the price, but
I don't think it is it? I'm not too sure. I thought they were about the same.
Oh no, I'm thinking of FS Labs. Maybe not. Maybe they are the same.
Oh yeah, the FS Labs is twice.
Yeah. But yeah, you can get the 757 V2 extended, and I can get that for you if you choose. That's your next step. So
yeah, I think it will be my next aircraft, in all honesty. But a lot of people have been saying that we've got the Captain Sim 757 coming out for prepared this week. So I was waiting just to see, but I have a feeling that the Flight Factor would be better.
The Flight Factor is probably, correct me if I'm wrong, XP gentlemen out there in the chat, if any of you are left. The 757 V2, the FMC, it's probably the most solid FMC in X-Plane.
Oh wow, brilliant!
I would I would classify it as the most solid. Now, there's things that are. I mean, we know that the Flight Factor 320's FMC McDo is improving day by day. But it right now, I don't believe it has holds in it and that type of thing. So, but this NGX, this NGX FMC is pretty solid.
It's the thing with the NGX and with PMDG products is that you get exactly what you're paying for with it, and they are modeled to for us simmers, they are modeled to a very good level. The thing that with the FS Labs and why I think us prepared people love it so much is because it just takes the immersion up to that next level and the realism.
Yeah.
And you really you get in the flight deck and you're like, oh god, I've got to have my head screwed on for this thing, otherwise I'm in trouble. And you are in trouble, kind of thing. You know, for example, numerous times I've been using my middle mouse button to scroll around and pan around my view in the flight deck, and I'll take off and I'll suddenly get a cabin alert because the window is very, very, very slightly open, like the window latch isn't completely closed.
Wow.
And so the aircraft's just pressurized, you know, and you get all of that jazz come up on the screen, and it's just phenomenal. And you see the bird go through the engine if you put an engine failure in through a bird strike as well.
Oh, wow.
Which is always a fun one. Yeah.
That's the thing that you'll probably encounter in the X-plane is the bird strikes are probably too common.
Good. Oh, yes. I think I saw a clip of something happening at quite a high altitude with a bird strike.
Yeah, those high altitude migrations.
Yeah.
Okay, somewhere simulated in my chat says his B200 should be updated to V4.1. Which company is that B200 from? Somewhere simulated. Yeah, Dookie Duke. Chewy's in the house.
We're crossing the border. We're getting into explaining P3D.
It's like mental. Crossing the streams from the Ghostbuster ray guns.
I never thought I would be sat here on a stream with you playing prepared and me with Ortho 4XP on my screen.
Yeah, right.
This is so weird. What a beautiful way to close out the year, though.
Yeah, exactly. Did you change anything like masks or anything? Or did you just go with the default on your first tile?
Well, on the so I just followed a YouTube video basically.
Okay.
What did I put in? So I just put build masks and build overlays in.
Okay.
And then I've done 17 for the base zoom level and the base source of GO2 because on this video they said the best one is GO2 or Bing. And then I just clicked batch build. I have no idea.
On the main screen at the bottom, there's this mask number that you can put in. So in the future, if you want to experiment with how much land versus water, how much of that do you want to go out and kind of fade out, and that's something that people experiment with. I think the default is set to like 8, and some people are putting like 80 or 85.
Oh, masks width is on the tile.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it. Yeah.
But play with the default, see how it goes, and then I'm excited to see that on your stream.
I'm not excited to show me landing this IXEG though. That's a task.
Yeah, but you know as better. Totally you know as good as I do that crashes and bad landings bring followers. they click that follow button. There's some sort of association between bad piloting and followers. I don't know why, but
yeah, it certainly entertains people when you mess it up. I think. Yeah. There's a certain thing of people actually are secretly digging you to fail to a certain extent in a nice way.
Well,
I
mean. I kind of YouTube wise I have a departure in the flight. That was the other thing I was going to recommend to you is the FlyJ Sim products. They're an older it's the older Boeings, but I think you'd have a good time with it. So there's a brand new 737 V3 that's coming out. It's slant alpha, so it's not Europe doesn't like the slant alpha as much, but that's something to put on the radar. But I have a a YouTube clip out there of me flying FlyJ Sims 727, and I'm all serious, and I'm on pilot edge, and I'm doing this loop 8 departure out of Los Angeles, and
Oh.
I'm thinking I'm so cool because I'm doing this departure so perfectly in this very complicated aircraft that normally has 3 pilots in it. 3. I start chit-chatting with the chat, and then all of a sudden I go into a deep stall, and I land downtown LA next to a taco stand. Yeah. A lot of people subscribe to my YouTube channel. 4 did, at least, after that video.
Yeah. It's always, and it always seems to be that you've got the most viewers when it happens.
Oh,
it's like there's always a preempt that they know it's going to happen.
Oh yeah, if I get like a squirrel host, I'm dead.
Yeah,
I'm dead. It's just that's that. All right, chat. Just let's focus on chat. You guys have a question for Chewy? Anyone in the chat have a question for Chewy? And if you see anything in there you want to respond to, I know we've been ignoring you guys. I haven't had a chance to really talk to Chewy much, and I just thank you so much for making X-Plane 11 available in your repertoire. You influenced me to. I've been thinking about P3D for a while, but I pulled the trigger because of you.
Yeah, I think it's good that we've both pulled the trigger because we're both, we've got experience, so we can easily help each other out on the other one. I'm sure it won't be too much of a problem. But I think what's also really nice about us, as I say, like both switching, is that it opens up our community to both. I've seen people in your chat today saying, "Oh, I've been debating pulling the trigger on X-Plane, on P3D, sorry." And I had a lot of people in my chat asking me if they should pull the trigger on X-Plane, and so it's nice to look at it in that way, to opening up. Will Chewy never fly P3D? See, this is the thing. I said it earlier to you, John, as Kevin says. I've had so many people question if I'm ever flying in prepared again because I've tried X-Plane once on stream.
I can answer the question. 82% of the time, he will be flying. He will be flying P3D.
yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
The other question is, did you
to start stream? How did I get influenced to start streaming Flight Sim? Influence? That's a really good question, actually. I don't know if there was an influence. Oh, well, that sounds wrong. I just thought it would be a bit of a laugh, to be honest with you. I'd got a new computer and had simmed very casually and thought, oh, let's just put on a bit of Flight Sim and see what happens in it. Yeah.
Now, you had to start in Counter-Strike, right? On Twitch?
Yeah, Call of Duty and Counter-Strike. So I've come from the first-person shooter range, so it was quite a switch. Yeah. From that community to this one.
Someone asked did you fly to EFRO today?
There's I don't know if you have you heard about the Flying Sea Santa event?
I saw there were subscribe.
It's Kevin. It's Kevin. Welcome, Kevin. This is the mastermind behind Chaseplane, if you don't know who it is.
BRZ, thank you for being here. Thank you for the subscribe. Thank you for letting me rock the Invisisticks.
We gotta subscribe.
I am loving your product. I just today learned like 17 new things with this bad boy. I even downloaded a bunch of your uploaded profiles, Chewy.
Right, I'm going to show you something now on Chaseplane.
We gotta subscribe.
So, if you go into I think it's the camera tab on the left-hand side there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. I'll wait for it to catch up on the stream. Is there something called Hot Corners? It may. I don't know if it's in aircraft actually. So try the aircraft tab instead.
Aircraft.
Then I don't know if there's a tab at the top that says Hot Corners.
There's portals and walls. Oh, Hot Corners. Yeah, I'm on Hot Corners. Yep.
Yeah, Hot Corners. Okay, right. So, it doesn't matter which one you select, but just click one of those drop-down menus that's in the middle that says None. Say, whatever one you want, the top one in the middle or something.
Okay.
And scroll right down to the bottom of the list that appears and click Dance. It should be right down at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Let me know when you've done that.
Yeah, it's done. Yep.
Okay, so now tab back into your simulator and move your mouse upwards to the top of the screen in the middle, and then move your mouse back downwards, and you'll see what happens.
Right, just like my... Do I have to be in full screen?
Yep,
oh my god.
There you go. So this is the beautiful feature of Hot Corners, where You don't have to click to change a view in chase plane, but you can move your mouse to a certain region and then back. And the guys at FSFX Packages decided to include a dance feature. So if you're ever bored in cruise and just fancy a little bit of a boogie, then there you go.
I could maybe do that during a subscribe.
Yes, good idea.
Oh, wow, that is brilliant. Yeah. I love it.
I think the first time I did that on stream, I had some... you know the guy who did Gangnam Style? I had his music on in the background, and I think that Twitch clip went viral because it was just the weirdest thing to see in the sim. So there you go.
I love the fact that we have. Yes, I love it. I'm gonna use that. I love the fact that the Twitch community is embracing developers, and developers are embracing Twitch. It's really it's a symbiotic relationship, and they're showing up in the chat rooms, they're participating, they're seeing the value, they're even doing sponsorships in many situations. I just love that. I really do.
Yeah, I think we're a tight-knit, again, with my background with Call of Duty and Counter-Strike and seeing how split apart those communities are. Coming into Flight Simulator as a whole has been a breath of fresh air, and it's been great because I've recently been showing people the virtual Red Arrows and the virtual Blue Angels who all fly on, you know, Digital Combat Simulator, and that still classes as flight sim. It still kind of all comes under one crazy massive roof, and so yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see a lot of people engaging with the community right from the developer to the ground level. You know, it's brilliant.
Yeah. Let's see. How do you say his name? Is it BRZ?
I say, wait, I just call him Kevin because that's his name, but I've just always gone with Well, I don't even know if I've even ever called him under his alias, actually.
Well, Kevin.
Probably should do.
Let's see. I'm gonna say BRZ.
BRZ.
With a Yank accent.
Yeah. BRZ. I can't BRZ.
Oh, okay, there you go. BRZ. I can just say BRZ.
Yeah, that works.
So Kevin says he was a member of the community before being a dev. So yeah, so he's staying in touch with his sim pilot roots. That's awesome.
I think that's the thing with a lot of developers. It was a passion first before it was a job. In a way,
yeah.
You know, they were part of the flight simulator community and saw the gap in the market for something that they had a passion for and went for it. And that's why I love. I'm not just saying it because he's here, but that's why I love Kevin's products and a lot of others, because you can tell that they've put. It sounds cheesy to say, but you can tell that they've put their heart and soul and their passion into it.
Well, BRZ, Kevin, I'm really tempted to get the immersion packages, particularly for this plane. I haven't pulled the trigger yet because I had to spend $2,000 getting to where I am today. So $2,000! No, I exaggerate by at least $100. But yeah,
I've only spent $100 in X-Plane so far. And I'm having an absolutely thoroughly incredible time with everything that I've got. And again, 3/4 of that was the IXEG or so.
Yeah. Kevin says he has a goodie bag for me.
He has a goodie bag. There you go.
Oh,
yeah,
snack.
The immersion package on the set. So you want like your weather earlier on in Salt Lake City, just a wing view on departure after you take off from somewhere like Salt Lake City with that weather. And your jaw will hit the floor, I think.
Oh, wow. All right. I have to change the emote, guys. It's going to 19%. It's going to 19%. All right. I think any other questions for Chewy? Do you have any questions for me regarding X-Plane or anything else? I think you can stick around and be here in case I need you. I'm going to probably do one more leg here, but if you have any questions about X-Plane,
I'm just going to lurk in the background and do this ortho thing. I don't know if there's anything else at the moment. I'll probably think of something, but right now my mind's blank. Thanks for having me on and stuff like that. It's been good to chat, and it's been thoroughly enjoyable seeing you dip your toes into Prepared for the first time.
Yeah, well, thank you for your X-Plane 11 stream and the awesome community that you've built over there. I'm absolutely convinced that Europe has more flight simmers. I swear, you guys, your continent is representing flight simulation very, very well. It may be due to the cost of fuel that there's less people that can fly. I don't know what it is, but you have an amazing continent over there, and you seem united as well. So it's good stuff. Nate, thanks for jumping in here.
No problem. Any questions, just give me a bell. I'm usually on Discord and stuff, so I'm happy to answer questions if you've got any yourself about the weird world of Prepared.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you, Chewy.
Brilliant. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Enjoy the next flight.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
See you later.
All right, so BRZ says, what has the most complicated add-on structure, P3D or X-Plane? You know, I'm so new to it that I probably am not the most, I don't come probably from the best background to answer that question, but I will tell you that fighting with installing Las Vegas, so FS Dream Team, and the confliction that it has with Orbex SoCal, and I have to go in and do brain surgery, that's a little frustrating as far as add-on structure. But in defense of that situation, FS Dream Team Las Vegas is a very old package, and I think it's been updated, but Orbex SoCal being a different company, I know that there's going to be problems. With X-Plane, you know, as long as your ortho photo and your airports are in the correct sequence, it's very easy to manage. But that's a very biased answer because it's all I've been doing for 2 years, so I know how to do it. Some people coming from P3D may find that the way that we handle and structure our add-ons and scenery might be complicated. But the fact is that I can take, let me put it this way. I can take my entire X-Plane folder. It has aircraft and scenery in it, and I can take that whole thing and I can put it on a USB stick, and I can take it to a different computer and it'll load up just fine. There's no Windows registry involved. So I think P3D started to modulize things. I like the fact that they've put the add-ons and different things in different directories, and it's not as integrated. They're kind of trying to make it be a little separated from a centralized situation. But yeah, I'm not educated enough to probably be an authority on which one is more complicated with regard to add-on. I just have my limited experience so far. But yeah, I'll be in touch. In fact, I may just send you a little message now because you got me